completed, it is done. The little bit that I have not shown you is there is a little fly out menu on the far left. You can see that it has like a slightly darker blue color. If I hover over or click on it, it will give you a menu with more options. There is this wait to done option. What that does is, remember how it had W for waiting? Maybe you don't want to send that over to the MP, you want to work on a patient first. You can actually select the patient and then do wait equals done, or you can just do Control C. And what that will do is change it back to a waiting status so that I can refill it. Or if this is one you're like, oh, I want to fill the next patient, you can just select wait equals done and it goes back to a done status and it thinks it's already filled it and it's not going to come out of the robot yet. Then when you're actually ready to do it, you can just select it, either do wait equals done or Control C and it'll go back to your waiting status, you can fill it. So a lot of people will use that option to kind of skip a patient to work on a different one if they printed an order on accident. Especially since you have people in RAS and they might, accidentally print the order from here, or you put one over there on accident. So you can always do that. You're like, oh, I don't need to fill this one. Just select it, do Control C, that'll say it's done. And then when it's actually time to fill it, you can do Control C and it will say waiting. Okay. I'm gonna change it back to done so it doesn't refill it for us.
But what if it's like multiple patients? You click on it?
Just click on the one patient that you want to say that it's done, or send it back to refill. Okay. It's also a great option if you send it over to the robot and you didn't have your pouch paper in, like maybe you just changed the paper and you didn't have it correctly in place. You can stop the robot from filling. You can say that it's done. You just hit like the stop button down here when it's dispensing, and then that will kind of like send it back to a waiting status, and then you can clear it, hold off on it, make sure your paper is good to go, and then put it back to waiting status and fill it again. Okay. So there's a little bit of like manipulation you can do here if you need to refill something or redo it. If there's an error on here, that has to start from ScriptPro. You have to go back, fix your medication packs. You need to fix the admin times, fix the scripted entry that was done on it, and then print the order and resend it across. So that's why I was saying make sure you're prepped. Okay. But this one should be good to go. So we're gonna set this here for that one. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is our tray fill. So we're gonna go back to ScriptPro. There might be patient information, so yep, there was. All right, so we got our tray fill here. We're gonna print our order, so I'm gonna just double click on it. I'm pretty sure it's like a software bug. Depending on how you print it, it gives you this error, and then you just hit yes on it. So then if I come back, you'll see here now I've got my MP tray, and the status is WC. So W means waiting, C means that at least one of those drugs are going to come out of a tray and be filled on the conveyor inside the actual robot. So if I click on my MP tray, here's where you're going to see that one of them is coming out of cassette 36, and the other two say cassette 0. That means it's going to be a tray fill. So I definitely want to go find my drugs. So I've got pravastatin and suvastatin. We got our 2 NDCs that we need. We're going to make sure we're prepped, ready to go. Okay. If I did try to wake up the little peanut, you'll notice that it just says WC still. Didn't actually send it over to the robot. It's because you have to do it at the manual first. So if you have like 5 or 6 that say W and everything's coming out of the robot, just let it fill all of those, and then you can prep the trays in between. Okay. And once the tray is prepped, the robot will know, and when it's time to fill that patient, it'll say, hey, you need to put this tray into the robot. So we'll see that process here in a second. Okay. So with the tray fills, we're going to use our friend Benjamin. It's the software that says MP-TMS. It's got the orange background on it, but this is the Benjamin software. All right, so with the orange software, to kind of start, let's see if I can go back really quick for you. When the patient shows up, what you can do is kind of do like a little refresh, and if you hit this play button here, it should automatically pop open the tray saying, hey, I need a tray, go ahead and load a tray in there. So your trays are gonna be up on the top. All you have to do is grab any one. You'll notice that there's gonna be a little RFID right here. That's how it's gonna know what's inside the actual tray and which patient it is for. So you're gonna just open up your tray and you're gonna just set it down so it's nice and flat. And then you're gonna close it so that way it registers it. Okay. gonna tell you here that the machine that I'm working on is our MP tray, and these are our 2 drugs that we need. So to kind of start, what we're gonna do is just use our little button. It brings up our screen that says, please scan medication barcode. You'll notice that we have our pravastatin and our rosuvastatin. It does not matter which one you start with, but in this medicine barcode field, if you click into it, you can take your first drug, and we're going to simply scan it. Once you scan it, you're going to hit enter, and it's going to have you type in the lot number and your expiration date. Okay. You'll also notice that on my screen here, it's lit up. So the different colors mean how many tablets you're supposed to do. So green is just 1. You'll have different colors depending if it's half tablet or if it's going to be 2 times or 2 tablets in there. So always look at the colors. Plus it should tell you what you need to put in there. Okay. So first thing is our lot number. So we're going to type in our lot number. There is a setting where you can keep the old lot number so that we don't have to type it in every time, but most of the time you're going to be cycling through different bottles, so we'll have to type it in each time. Enter, it'll move over your expiration date. Expiration date has to be a 222 format, just the first 2 of the month, the day, and then 2 for the year. So in this case, we're going to do 06/30/26, hit enter, and it's going to say open your cover. So then what you do is you just slide your cover up. And now we're gonna look at our grid here. You'll see that green means 1 tablet, and it's telling you to put 1 inside each of those slots. And it should correspond with what you have on your tray. The biggest thing is it goes below the green light. Because sometimes you won't have anything in this one, so people like see the green light and they think it's gonna be in there. But it goes below, so it'd be here and then here. Oh. Does anyone have gloves or tweezers? I don't wanna like grab all the tablets. But it's kind of nice because you can have someone prepping the trays while someone's at the MP filling, or have it fill all of your cassette ones first while you're prepping the trays. And it doesn't take as long. Or you can prep all of your trays first thing in the morning, and then when they're all done, you just have them stacked and you're ready to go. This is where the errors can happen, because if you put it in the wrong slot, like it does not have a sensor being like, oh, you put it in the wrong slot. It just assumes you put it in the correct one, so you want to make sure it's good to go. So again, we're going to just put it below the green light. And then I always give it a nice look to make sure you have them in all the slots. So we can move that forward if you need to. Yep. So then once you have everything, if everyone wants to step a little bit closer, there's an actual tray on top, and then the tray that we put in is below it. So when you're done, you just slide your cover and say, I'm done, and it opens it up and drops it into the tray below. So then we can move on to our next one, and there's nothing in there. Okay. So you'll see that it has a little blue line here saying you've already done your rosuvastatin, so now it's time to move on to the pravastatin. So at that point, you're going to just do medicine barcode. We're going to scan our barcode. There's a little quirk with the system. I need to reprogram this barcode scanner, but right now when I scan it, if I hit enter, it's going to say it's the wrong drug, and it says it's not registered. There's 2 reasons for that. It could be that this truly is a new barcode we haven't seen before, so it's going to have you redo your barcode. There is also a programming deck that I need to run on this, where right now there's like an extra space added to it, so you have to hit backspace and then enter, and it will recognize what it is. I will fix that before you go. But like right now when I scan this, I had to hit backspace and then enter, and I'll fix that so you don't have to do that. Okay. So then again, the lot number, enter. We're going to do our expiration date, hit enter. At that point, it's going to say open your cover, and you'll see that the lights change on this one. So again, it goes below the green light, so I'm going to have someone step on up and go ahead and put the pravastatin in. Get all the practice.
Yes.
It's not even an ice tray.
Ice tray.
You know the ice, like little typical ones?
This is where I think it's easier, just like put gloves on and drop them in.
Yeah, and way easier.
and I'm blind.
Alright, all done.
Perfect. So then when you're done and it looks good, you just close your tray cover. All right, so it's gonna beep at you. Make sure you don't have anything like a drink in front of it. At that point, when it's all done, it should clear the screen, so there's nothing left on the actual Bridgevin software, and your tray will pop out. So all you're gonna do is take your tray, set it wherever you want to. If you had another patient, you hit your little play button, move on to the next one, grab a new tray, drop it in there, and just continue filling all your tray mats for the patients that you've sent across. Okay. I'm gonna alt-tab back to Oak, type in my ID since it's been more than 5 minutes. We've got our MP tray here. Remember, we tried to dispense it earlier. It wouldn't let us because we hadn't prepped our tray. But now if I hit my little waiting button to wake up my peanut, you'll see that it's actually gonna say DC now. It sent it over to our MP. It's gonna automatically start since I hit start earlier on it. But you're gonna hear this nice little soft chime. It's a lot better than the other robots where it's beeping at you, but it's saying, hey, you need to prep your tray drugs. You'll also notice it says, please replace the current conveyor with tray 5. So that's tray 5 here. All you have to do is put that tray into the conveyor. So to add it in, what you're gonna do is just push on the tray cover. There's a tray that's already sitting in here. It uses the RFID, so it knew that tray 1 was in there. It's not what it needs. So once you just slide the cover back, just grab your tray out, and then we're gonna put our tray 5 directly into the conveyor. Make sure that it's nice and level. I also like to make sure that it's flush with like the backs that gonna push it. It has like a little finger that's gonna actually open up your actuator and drop the fold in there. Okay. You can slide the cover forward, or when you push it, it just slides in as well. Close it up. You're gonna see that it's gonna kind of start thinking. It's gonna say correct TCT. You can continue and it just automatically drop them into my conveyor for you, and it's gonna start filling it for you. And that's it. So it's not like too much more work. You just have to be organized and prep your tray. And that's the nice thing is you can send forward across, prep all the trays with us patients, and then it's just, it works on one, you drop your tray. You grab the next one, then your tray. You can also, at any point, open up the conveyor. You can take out the old tray. I don't really suggest putting any prep trays in there until you need them, because I have seen like the robot error out, and when you turn off the robot, if you forget to pull the tray out, when it starts up, it actually will open up the tray, and everything you prepped falls into the conveyor. So if you do turn off your robot mid-fill or anything like that, just make sure you pull out any prep tray from there. Or just make it a habit where you don't leave anything in there, and then you're good to go. Okay, and you can see that one's finished. And that's kind of the whole process.
So how many extra cassettes do we have that we can have like loaded with different drugs, or how many drugs can we load?
We have all of
The
those
list was
cassettes
like
over there.
80-ish.
Yeah, I think there was 80-ish. It comes with 100, and I don't remember how many extra ones you guys purchased. But anything like if you have NDCs that are no longer available, those would just have to get built by ScriptPro and then sent out.
So I have the list. So
Perfect.
Mark is continuing.
Yeah. And if we already have a tray that was built for them, or so that was built for them, I'll have to reach out to the project manager to see what we do. Because I know there's like a time frame where once you like kind of have it built and everything, if it gets discontinued, we usually just make you get a new cassette. But
So it's like
it's NDC specific on like those robots, so.
So because there are 50 slots, and then if I'm using a drug that's not actively in there, does it tell you to put it where?
It'll beep at you.
Okay.
So as soon as you send something across, it says like reading U2 zone on the screen, and it's just looking at every cassette inside your robot. And so if you have one that's sitting on the outside, because you didn't have space for it, it'll say, please load cassette 47. And then you just go over where you keep your cassettes, you grab 47 and you put it into the robot. And then you hit start again, and at that point it's gonna reread it, and you'll notice it's in there and it just starts filling.
So the cassette number doesn't necessarily have to match that.
Nope, those numbers on the actual, we call them feeder bases. That number is more for ScriptPro for troubleshooting. So if there's a problem with it, we can say, oh, feeder base 27 is broken, and we can turn it off, or we can actually fix it for you. Okay. There are some things that we're going to talk about in the hardware training about where to put the cassettes, how to put them on. Some cassettes have to go into specific spots. But otherwise, you can pretty much put them anywhere in the cabinet. You do have the 50 on the front, and then there's 50 spots in the back as well. So there's 100 spots. But we'll cover that here in a second. I think you have 6 trays. We can figure out where the other 2 are. Somewhere.
In one of these.
I think you have 6. Maybe you only have 5.